Okay guys, so today I have a deck tech for all of us. It is that Mono Black's Pox deck that I ran last night in the Legacy Daily. We went 1-3. Our last round we did win, but my opponent did not show up. So, and we had some unfortunate losses. The first round we played against Sneak and Show, and I think if we would have had an Innocent Blood in our hand, if we would have drew into that, I think we could have pulled it out and won. Or if we had a Small Pox, we possibly could have won it. And then round 2, we played against Bug Delver and did okay until he got his Batter Skull out and then just started beating face. Really couldn't do anything about that. And then round 3, we played against another Bug Delver list and just our deck decided to crap out on us. So, but other than that, like, this is not top tier, and in a way, by no means is this a budget list. It is for mtgo, but not in real life. In real life, like, these two cards alone, you're looking at $400 or $500. So, and that should tell you something about this deck. And I'm gonna go through here and tell y'all what all that I would switch if you are wanting to turn it into a bigger legacy deck. But we'll go ahead, we'll start in with the creatures. We're running 2 Tombstalkers. It's a 5/5 for 6 and 2 black, flying with Delve. And what Delve does is you can exile a number of cards from your graveyard up to 6, and it'll cost 1 less. So in theory, you could pay 2 black for a 5/5. And that's really good. We are also running 1 Nether Spirit, which is a 2/2 for 1 and 2 black. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Nether Spirit is the only creature card in your graveyard, you may return Nether Spirit to the battlefield. I'll run it as a 1/of just because we have so many reoccurring effects in here. I'm also running 3 Bloodghast, which is a 2/1 for 2 black. It can't block, has haste as long as the opponent has 10 or less life. Landfall, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may return Bloodghast from your graveyard to the battlefield. This is one of our guys that will continuously be reoccurring and coming out, unless for some odd reason it gets surgical or something like that. But this was what I was running. So we're running 6 creatures in total. Moving on to the artifacts, we're running 2 Sensei's Divining Top, 1 Casting Artifact, pay 1, look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put them back in any order, tap, draw a card, then put Sensei's Divining Top on top of its owner's library. It just pretty much it sets up for your next draws. And then we're running 2 Cursed Scroll, 1 Casting Cost Artifact, pay 3 and tap it, name a card, reveal a card at random from your hand. If it's the name card, Cursed Scroll deals 2 damage to target creature or player. In theory, it's spot removal, and it's pretty much, just shock them at the end of their turn, every turn, if you, like, have nothing but swamps in your hand or something like that. And that's it for the artifacts. Going into the enchantments. Nether Void, 3 and a black enchantment. Whenever a player casts a spell, counter it unless that player pays 3. This is pretty much against all your control decks, against your show and tell, and all that good stuff. So it's good against sneak attack because all they got to do is, not sneak attack, but show and tell. They can show something in, and if they have Omniscience out there, they can't really cast anything for free. So it's really good card, especially against control. We're also running 1 Chains of Mephistopheles, 1 in a black enchantment. If a player would draw a card except the first one he or she draws in his or her draw step each turn, that player discards a card instead. If the player discards a card this way, he or she draws a card. If the player doesn't discard a card this way, he or she puts the top card of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Pretty much, I can't explain this. You will actually have to call wizards and have them explain it like normal people would, instead of all this text that just confuses you. So pretty much, if you're playing this in paper Magic and this hits the board, you call for a judge and have him set through the interactions. So, but it is good against control. That's why this is in here. Anything that draws a lot of cards, this is why it's in here. Now moving on to the instants and sorceries. We're running 4 Hymn to Tourach, 2 black sorcery. Target player discards 2 cards at random. Such a good card. It's even running joined. Just pretty much anything that can produce double black, it's in there. We're also running 4 Innocent Blood, 1 black sorcery. Each player sacrifices a creature. Extremely good card in this deck. Another one to look at would be Diabolic Edict, which is 1 in a black. Instant. Target player sacrifices a creature. That would pretty much go in against like Show and Tell and stuff like that. That way you don't have to deal with an Emrakul or an Ulamog or something. We're also running 4 Inquisition of Kozelik, 1 black sorcery. Target player reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-land card from it with converted mana cost 3 or less. That player discards a card. So we're running this over duress, because majority of everything costs 3 or less in Legacy, except for like Force of Will and all your big fats in Storm, like not Storm, but all your big fats in pretty much Show and Tell and stuff like that. Then we're running 4 Dark Ritual, black instant, add 3 black to your mana pool. So you can pretty much, you can first turn Dark Writ into a top into a Hymn to Tourach. Let me exit out of this. And then moving on, we are running 1 Pox. It's 3 black. Each player loses a third of his or her life, then discards a third of his or her hand, then sacrifices a third of his or her creatures, then sacrifices a third of his or her lands. Round up each time. So pretty much if you do that first turn, they're going to go down to 12 life. They're going to discard down to, I think, 3 cards. So it's just another Pox in there pretty much. We're also running 1 Raven's Crime, sorcery black. Target player discards a card with Retrace. And what Retrace does, for those of y'all that don't know, if this is in the graveyard, you may pay its casting cost and discard a land and cast it from the graveyard. Very good card. I like it in here as a 1 or a 2 of. I've been running it as a 1 of. Then we have 3 Sinkhole, 2 black, sorcery, destroy target land. This card is needed in this deck. You just want to pretty much hate on everything they play. So that's pretty much what this deck revolves around. It's mono black control pretty much. That's the easiest way to put it. Then you're running 4 Small Pox. Same thing as Pox, except it's 2 black sorcery. Each player loses 1 life, discards a card, sacks a creature, then sacrifices a land. So you're getting rid of 4 things right there. But it has such a good interaction with Bloodghast, and all that stuff. It's like, okay, I'm going to lose a life. I'm going to discard a Bloodghast. And if I've got a Bloodghast out on the field, I'll sacrifice it. And then I'll just sack a land, play my land for turn, get those 2 guys back. So that's the whole reoccurring effect in here. And then we are running 4 lands. We are running 4 Mishra's Factory. Tap, add 1 to your mana pool. Pay 1. Mishra's Factory becomes a 2/2 assembly worker artifact creature until end of turn. Is still a land. Or tap it, target assembly worker creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Pretty much, for those of you that play Standard and don't know what this is, it's pretty much a Mutavault that pumps other Mutavaults. That's the easiest way to put it. And then we are also running 2 Ghost Quarter. Tap, add 1 to your mana pool. Tap, sacrifice Ghost Quarter, destroy target land. Its controller may search his or her library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, and then shuffle his or her library. It's pretty much a wasteland, except they get to search, but not a lot of people run basics in Legacy. So that's okay with me. And then we're running 2 Cabal Pit. Tap, add black to your mana pool. It deals 1 damage to you. And if you have Threshold, pay a black, tap, sacrifice Cabal Pit. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Activate this ability only if 7 or more cards are in your graveyard. It can get rid of Delvers. That's that's one of the main reasons it's in here, is to get rid of Delver or just stuff like that. And then we are running 15 Swamp. And moving on to the sideboard. This is the way I've set up the sideboard. We're running 1 Nihil Spellbomb, pay 1 artifact, tap, sacrifice it, exile all cards from target player's graveyard. Whenever it's put in a graveyard from the battlefield, you may pay black. If you do, draw a card. It's pretty much just in there against like dredge decks, mirror match, stuff like that. We're also running 2 Pithing Needle, 1 casting cost artifact. As it enters the battlefield, name a card. Activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. Pretty much, Deathrite Shaman, you can name it. It can't gain life. It can't shock you, but it can exile a land to add a mana. So there's that. We're also running 2 Perish, 2 and a black sorcery, destroy all green creatures. They can't be regenerated. This pretty much comes in against Maverick and elves and stuff like that. Just anything really fast. But that's why that's in there. And I was testing with Memoricide. 3 and a black, name a non-land card, search target player's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name and exile them. Then that player shuffles his or her library. The reason I was running this is you have nothing to get rid of Rest in Peace, nothing to get rid of Grafdigger's Cage, or anything like that. So that's the whole reason why this is in here. Then we're running 2 extra pay a black, instant, split second. Choose target card in the graveyard other than the basic land card. Search its owner's graveyard, hand, and library for all cards with the same name as that card and exile them. Then that player shuffles his or her library. And what split second does is it'll end the stack. It can't be countered unless it's a Chalice of the Void out. But they can tap mana. That's one thing they can do. Other than that, it can't be countered. No force of will, nothing like that. Then we're running another Chains of Mephistopheles in board against your control matchups. And we're running 2 Engineered Plague, 2 and a black, enchantment. As Engineered Plague enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. All creatures of the chosen type get -1/-1. Elves, goblins, you could pull it in with Delver, just name Wizard, just anything you like tribal that you don't want to see. Then we're running 2 Lethal Vapors. This is my tech card against Show and Tell. 2 and 2 black enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, destroy it. Pay 0, destroy Lethal Vapors. You skip your next turn. Any player may activate this ability. Pretty much, if you're playing against Show and Tell, they Show and Tell an Emrakul, and you show that, and the Emrakul is blowing up. So, nothing happens. But they can pay 0 and skip their next turn, and most of the time that's what they're going to do. If they have sneak attack out, they're just going to do that because they can just swing in for game. And then we're running 1 more Nether Void in the board. That's the deck, guys. As I said, I was gonna let y'all know what I would switch out of this. And actually, like, there's not much that I would. I would add in 3 Orborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth over 3 of the Swamp. And what it does is, it's a legendary land. All lands tap for black in addition to their normal thing. So pretty much if I played a Ghost Quarter, like, it would tap for black. Same thing with Mishra's Factory. It just gives you that more consistent feel to it. Also, I would take out the 2 Ghost Quarters and possibly 2 more Swamps and put in 4 Wasteland, just cause you don't really want them searching. You just want to blow up their land. That's pretty much the way that goes. And then I would also put in 2 Maze of Ith. So that way it just gets rid of stuff. And like if they're attacking, like say with a Geist of St. Traft, or Taft, Traft, whatever you want to call it. Just you can untap their token, and their token is not going to deal any damage to you. So there's that. Also, I would take out the Cursed Scrolls in my opinion. They hadn't really done much for me. I sideboard them out most games, and I would put in 2 Mox Diamond. What Mox Diamond is, it's a 0-cost artifact. Whenever it enters the battlefield, discard a land card or sacrifice Mox Diamond. So pretty much first turn, it's like play your land, Mox Diamond, pitch a land, and then you can do whatever. That's personally what I feel is missing in here. And I would definitely add one more Sinkhole if I could. Probably add Sinkhole over the Pox. I would most definitely probably do that. The Perishes would turn into Toxic Deluge. It's a 2 and a black sorcery, or it actually might be an instant. It's one of the two. In addition to the casting cost, you pay X life. Each creature gets -X until end of turn. So pretty much it's like, okay, they got out, and we'll say a Throne and all this. It doesn't target, so it's still going to hit because it's a global effect. I would also try and figure out a place to put 2 Damnation just for a board wipe, because this really doesn't have anything. You can also run a one of Nevinril's Disc. It's a forecasting artifact, comes into play tapped. Tap it. Each player sacrifices all non-land permanents, pretty much. That way, you know, it actually gets rid of everything. And quite possibly, I would try and find place for 4, either 2 to 4 Liliana of the Veil. Just because a first turn Liliana is hard to deal with. Because, like, you're just gonna, first turn, it's like, play your Dark Writ, Liliana, they don't counter it, just start pitching cards to it, and then ultimate her, pretty much, and just keep doing that, and just keep doing it. That way, you know, you keep them off their land, and you can just Sinkhole them all day long. Another good option for sideboard would be Crucible of Worlds. It's a 3 casting cost artifact that says you may play land cards from your graveyard. I would really like this card to be in here, possibly main deck, but I really hadn't figured out where to put it, because you have 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, you have 14 discard spells. You could possibly take out 2 of these for the Lilianas, or take out the Cursed Scrolls for some stuff, knock down 2 lands, whatnot, and do it that way. And Rishadan Port is not a bad option either. I would only put that as a 2 of, if I did, because they are hella expensive. And this is the deck tech, guys. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. We will catch y'all in the next one.